Radio K, Real College Radio. We are live in Studio K with Twin Cities cosmic singer-songwriter Coleman Asher. How are you feeling coming off your performance?
I'm feeling good. It's good to be here, Chuck. It's been a while.
And you performed last year, I think, with New Confusion, and we're psyched to have you back. Does it feel different, like performing solo, than it did with the band?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of different. You don't. For those unfamiliar listening, I'm in a noise rock band called New Confusion, and I play drums. And I feel like with a project like that, it's kind of easy to hide behind layers of noise and just sheer volume, and I don't know, it's a little different just stripped down with only an acoustic guitar in your voice, but it's fun and it's challenging, and yeah, I would hope I'm getting better at it as time goes on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was really good, and
Thank you.
yeah, of course. Tell us about those songs we just heard.
What do you want to know?
Songwriting well, I can just go to the next one because it's kind of in there. You seem to be a pretty musical guy, and I was hoping you could walk us through the beginning of like your musical life. What were some of the first bands you listened to?
Yeah, I mean, I think my dad played a lot of classic rock growing up, and yeah, just gravitated towards that, and I like to, with anything I'm into, just kind of dig down the rabbit hole and see what I can find and find all these cool things. And that's another thing is like your education in music or art or any medium is never complete. Like, my coworker Jason, shout out Jason, he showed me a record like a couple weeks ago that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest record I've ever heard. It's by Doug Somm, Texas musician from way back when. But yeah, you're just always kind of trying to find new things, new sounds, and yeah, I don't know. My dad, he had has a pretty impressive record collection, and I've taken a lot of those records, and I'd say the two that I've listened to the most of my dad's collection are probably Grievous Angel by Graham Parsons and Marquee Moon by Television. That kind of shaped a lot of what you see before you now. But yeah, I don't know.
Marquee Moon, great record.
Great
record.
Great record.
How did you start playing music? When did you start playing music?
Probably like 7th or 8th grade. I went to this school called Great River, and they have, it's not like a performing arts school, but it's definitely attracted a more artistic leaning crowd, and has a good arts program. Shout out to Zach Scott. He was my first music teacher, and basically like I had bought a bass because I wanted to learn how to play bass, and it was a Hofner, Beatle bass because I love the Beatles, and he like I brought it to school and I didn't know how to play it, and he just like sat me down. He's like, all right, here's a couple scales, and you can figure it out. And yeah, just I think the culture at that school is a very small school, so there'd just be a lot of like sharing members of bands, and we'd have these coffee house events where we'd like all get together and practice a song the day before the show and play it in front of the whole school. Usually it was like Weezer songs because that's what we were listening to in middle school. But yeah, a couple of those bands, or there's one called the Tickle Brothers. It was a great band. Will Quee, Wyatt Goverick, and Jimbo Kaiser of Heart to Gold fame. Shout out Jimbo. But yeah, and then eventually I ended up focusing more on drums, and then kind of decided to teach myself guitar in my own way. It's been fun, yeah.
And what led you to start writing like your own music?
That's always a girl, isn't it?
Yeah.
No comment.
What does your songwriting process look like?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'll sit down with a guitar and try to find a melody first, but I think because I wrote poetry before I tried to write songs, so I feel like it's easier for me to have a poem already or have something that could be turned into a song, kind of envision that. Like, I think I usually start with lyrics. It's different in like a band setting. I feel like it's more fluid and dynamic and everybody's kind of chipping in. But yeah, I usually start with lyrics, and I'm not very creative with chords. I don't really know any chord shapes. I just play in open tunings and then tweak one string there, tweak another string there, and, you know, stay up late at night and just look for tunings, I guess. Tunings are out there. All the tunings are waiting to be found.
And you put out 2 releases so far, Songs of Oblivion in November 2023 and Songs of Desolation in December 2024. And they both have like this really cool lo-fi sound. And I was wondering what the recording process for those look like.
I think for those, the lo-fi is just because I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know how to mix and master, but I like appreciate those records for what they were, and just that time in my life of feeling like, oh yeah, I can kind of just, you know, do my own thing and write songs, and yeah, just a lot of hours in GarageBand, just adjusting levels and using really terrible microphones and trying to get it as close to what it sounds like in my head as possible.
And there's one song on Songs of Desolation that you actually played, Twisted Sun. Well,
Yeah.
I was really like, I love that song. I saw you play it at your first show.
Sorry, I don't know what to
Oh.
do with my hands. You were saying?
Yeah, I love that song, and I saw you do it at your first show, and it's really stuck with me ever since. And I was wondering like what the process for that one specifically looked like, if you even.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think that was just I'll usually just start with like one verse and then see how far I can take it. And that rhyme scheme was like I don't know, A B is something. I'm sure someone could figure it out. But yeah, just kind of trying like a interesting rhyme scheme with I like to give myself parameters when I'm writing songs, because when I'm writing poetry, it's all like, you know, free verse, confessional, this, whatever, that, Pessoa, Mayakovsky. But for songs, I just try to like, all right, make it rhyme because it's easier to remember if it rhymes. And there you go.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
That's a good technique. You've been putting out music for a little while, but you just played your first, or not just, but you played your first show pretty recently in August
Last summer.
at Mirror Lab, and I was wondering like what made you decide to start playing shows, and are you planning any more soon?
Well, that was I had no intention of playing that show. That was just because it was my good friend Grace Evelina's show, and she had someone drop off the show, and was like, we were talking about it, and I just sort of suggested jokingly like, oh, Coleman Asher could play that show, and she actually seemed very interested in the idea and added me to the bill, and I'm very grateful to her for that, and she's an incredible musician, and I hopefully will play more shows with her in the future, and there was also this band on that bill, one of those this might be a deep cut for like music lore in the Twin Cities, but there's a band called When the Dust Settles that played that show, and they're long gone, but we remember them fondly.
And you just launched an Instagram, which I think is big news.
Yeah, the Instagram is Coleman Asher Music, and I don't have any links to anything right now. I don't have any music on streaming. I have my first 2 albums, which are glorified demos on Bandcamp, so that'll have to tide you over if you're looking for a Coleman Asher fix.
And in the bio for your Instagram, you describe yourself as a cosmic American singer-songwriter.
Yeah, that's straight. That's ripped straight from Graham Parsons, who's a big hero of mine. I love Graham. R.I.P.
There, you've been in a lot of projects, New Confusion, Swayze Boys, Atomic Nun. What inspires you to like do so much music and keeps you motivated, I guess?
I don't know, just playing, just fun to play in a variety of settings and genres and situations, I guess.
Some people know you by the nickname Stove. How
Yes.
did that come about?
Well, you would think that was a reference to something involving the inhalation of smoke, but has nothing to do with that. It was actually in college. I went to St. Olaf College in Northfield, and I met a lot of great people there. And for our like SPM credits, the like physical sports movement credits, I was in a racket sports class, and my professor, who was the coach of the tennis team, Scott Nesbitt, I believe, gave me that nickname because he gave everybody in class nicknames, and he called me Stove because of the Coleman camping brand,
Oh,
like a portable camping stove. So no, it is not a drug reference.
and I mentioned it earlier, but your electronic group Swayze Boys just played a show, and a
That's
lot of
right.
people hadn't heard of Swayze Boys, but prior to this, and I was wondering if you could tell us about Swayze Boys.
There's actually like some kind of a legal mess right now with Swayze Boys and our NLC situation. So I'm legally not permitted to talk about Swayze Boys on the air. So let's just go to the next question.
Well, it's another Swayze Boys
Oh
question.
man,
I was wondering if you could explain the NLC.
no comment. Ask Terry. It was Terry's harebrained idea.
Minneapolis has a really great music scene. What do you think separates it from other places?
I don't know. I just feel maybe it's biased because I've lived here my whole life, but and I feel like every scene probably talks about like, oh, we just have such a sense of community and we're all so close and we go to each other's shows. But like, I do feel that about Minneapolis, and maybe because I have no frame of reference besides like, being on tour, and I don't know, being on tour is interesting because like you see how different scenes operate and you kind of see like archetypes of people of like, oh, you're that person of your scene, and like you look so familiar, but like I don't know you, but I feel like I could go up to you and talk to you. And but yeah, I don't know, I just feel like Minneapolis has a cool scene and we all stick together. And I would like to see more. I feel like in the past couple of years there kind of has been more of a shift towards specialization and like particular niches. So I would like to see more, mixed bills. Like when I was coming up as a young buck in the old days, it wouldn't be uncommon to see like three extremely different genres on a bill together. And I'd like to be a part of some of those. I wouldn't mind playing folk country music for a hardcore crowd. I feel like that'd be pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know. I like Minneapolis, but I'm from St. Paul. All right,
Shocker.
I'm from St.
Wow.
Paul. I'm not trying to claim nothing I'm not a part of. I grew up in St. Paul. I'm a St. Paul boy. Go Saints.
Well, you heard it here first. Coleman Asher shockingly revealed as being from St. Paul.
It's in my bio.
It is. Um, we have one question we like to ask everyone that comes in to Off the Record. If you could play any bill, you play the bill, 5 bands, dead or alive, what would that look like?
That's a good question. Let's get. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. I'm just gonna think out loud here, so there's no dead air, because this is the radio, and I can't do my card tricks on the radio. Let's get Graham Parsons and the Fallen Angels on that bill with Miss Emmylou Harris, of course. Let's get Jimi Hendrix on the bill. Why not? I have, sure, he can close. He can close it. But like Band of Gypsies, Hendrix. That's my favorite. I love Mitch Mitchell, but like Band of Gypsies is pretty crazy. Buddy Miles, Billy Cox. That's two bands. Coleman Asher, who's gonna be on the bill. I don't want to say what's up. Oh man, that's a tough one. Yeah. Am I allowed to like cheat and look at my? I don't have my phone. Just think off the brain. Who's music? Who is music? Music. Oh, the band. The band.
Ooh, good pick.
Yeah, with Dylan. Dylan will like come out for a couple songs. They'll do some basement tape stuff.
Would you bring Neil Young out?
Oh yeah, I'll bring Neil. I'm trying to think of like a deep pull. Actually, Neil's not on this, but Lydia Lunch will be on this bill. Teenage Jesus and the Jerks will be on this bill, and so will. Well, okay. Every time I've been on Radio K with New Confusion, we've talked about this man. So let's get Nick Cave on the bill. Let's get the birthday party. 81, 82. Well, maybe 80. Circa that era, towards the end, you know. They played there's this great video on YouTube of their set at First Avenue in 81, and when I was at my buddy's show the other day at First Ave, like I don't know what this says about me. I wasn't thinking when I was like backstage and like right next to the stage of First Ave, I wasn't thinking of like, wow, this is where Prince was, this is where Husker Du and the Replacements. I was just thinking, Nick Cave was on this. This is the birthday party. They played that show. Because like, oh my gosh, they're a crazy band. I love.
Those are some good records.
Great record. Yeah.
And final question: do you have anything coming up? Anything coming down the pipe? Anything to look forward
to? Nothing whatsoever. I have no shows for Coleman Asher. I have some New Confusion shows at some point. I can't remember those dates off the top of my head, but for Coleman Asher, I'm just getting in the studio and trying to get some songs on the record, I just sort of sit here while my guitar quietly whimpers.
Well,
walk hard, everybody.
Well, yeah, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Chuck.
Love to have you. And you've been listening to Coleman Asher on Radio K, Real College Radio.